Hi everyone, my name is Martin Yanev, a software engineer and a computer science professor at Fitchburg State University. I am the author of the book Building AI Applications with the ChatGPT APIs. This course will take only 30 minutes of your time and you're going to learn something very powerful, how to build AI tools using Python. And the best part is, you don't need any coding background and you don't have to install anything. This is because we're going to be working with Google Colab, which is completely free online environment where you can run Python from your browser. Just open the notebook from the course description, follow along, and you're ready to go. The project that you are going to build in this course is both fun and practical. You will build AI presentation generator. You will give it some text and it will automatically generate a PowerPoint presentation with text and images ready to use. You'll get the full code for the project in a Jupyter notebook, so you can run it anytime, customize it, or use it as a template for your own AI applications. By the end of the course, you're not just going to have a presentation generator, you will have the skills and the confidence to start creating your own AI tools for any task you can imagine. So you're ready to dive into Python and AI the easy way? Let's get started. Hi everyone, and welcome to the first video of this sequence where I'm going to show you how you can build your own applications using the OpenAI APIs. In this course, I will show you how you can build by yourself a PowerPoint presentation creator app using Python. You don't really need any installations for this course because we are going to use a Google Colab. This is an online tool created by Google that allows you to work with Python and access all of the Python libraries for free just by having an internet connection. So today I'm going to show you how you can create your account in Google Colab, how to access Jupyter notebooks from there, and how to use the materials for this course. So you just need to go on colab.research.google.com. And to use Google Colab, you only need to have a Google account and a Gmail. Every notebook that you create here is automatically going to be saved on your Google Drive, so you don't need to worry about space. You can easily create a new Jupyter notebook on Google Colab by clicking File, New Notebook on Drive, and once you click that, a new notebook is going to be saved on your drive and you will be able to edit it using the Google Colab tools. Now, for this course, of course, I'm going to provide you the full code and the full Google Colab notebook completed. So you can either choose to write the code on your own in the way that I just showed you, or as a second option, you can access the notebook from the link that I'm going to add into the description of this course, and then simply run the code snippets from here. Okay, so in the next videos, I'm going to show you how to move along with the code and explain you everything in detail. But really the choice whether you just want to run the code or write it yourself is completely yours. So the final thing I want to show you in this introductory video is the actual result of our work once you complete the course. So the tool that you're going to build is going to take a very large text as an input. Let's say an essay or a project that you had to do for university class. So once you pass the text to the Python tool that we will build, this text is going to be sent to the AI agent that will be part of your tool. It will synthesize the text, so it will build the presentation title and bullet points. And finally, it will build a presentation just like the one that you can see right now in front of you. So the idea is to create a title, bullet points, and finally an AI generated image based on the text that you add. Once that's done, we're going to use the python-pptx library to generate presentation using all of those resources that the AI agent generated. Once you know how to build this single tool, you will have all the skills needed to build your own AI applications that can really help you to complete and to deal with a lot of your daily tasks. Alright, now I'm going to show you how you can install all the requirements needed for the project. To do that, I actually created this notebook that you can see has all the text from our original notebook that I linked in the description, but I removed the code. So this is where I'm going to show you how to write and implement all the code for the project. And if you are not experienced with Python, let me tell you that Python works with external libraries. For example, everyone around the world can create a specific Python library that works with AI tools, generates videos, generates images, and so on. So in order to use these Python so-called packages, we need to first import them. Because if the standard Python application has all of those packages that people created around the world, then Python will be too heavy and might have packages that you don't need to use. So for that reason, we need to install only the packages that we need. And that's very simple in the Google Colab. So whether you created a brand new Jupyter notebook or you're writing this one with me, it doesn't really matter. The code is going to be exactly the same. Okay, so the first thing that I will do is I'll write pipe install python-pptx OpenAI and requests. This means that I want to install the libraries python-pptx, which is the library responsible for creating our PowerPoint presentation, OpenAI, which is the library that will help us to assess the artificial intelligence agent, and also the request library, which is going to deal with web requests and responses. This will help us with the image generation. So I'll click this play button right here, and now you can see that all the libraries are going to get installed one by one. I can see here requirement already satisfied because I already installed them, but for you the process might take a little bit longer since you are installing those requirements for first time. Next, once we have all the libraries installed, we need to import them in our project. So firstly, here I write from IO import bytes.io, which will help us with converting the AI image generated for our slide into bytes before adding it in the presentation. The request library, here I'm importing the presentation object, which will help us to create the presentation, and some tools that will help us position the different elements to our slides, and finally the OpenAI library, which will help us with generating AI content. So if I click the play button right here, you'll see that it will take us about 1 second, because here we're just indexing and linking all the libraries to our project, but no actual programming job has been done. So now you reach step 2, which means that you have set your project for success. And next, I'm going to explain you how to create the function that will assess the artificial intelligence engine. Alright everyone, here we're at step 3 of our project, where we define the text generation function. So as you can see from the description in our Jupyter notebook, the function is going to be called OpenAI chat, and it will use the OpenAI API to generate text, which in our case will be the slide title and bullet points, based on certain text for which we want to create our presentation. So let's write def, and we're going to call the function OpenAI chat. And I'm going to pass one parameter here called prompt, or this is going to be our question to ChatGPT. So what is the task that we want ChatGPT to generate response for? I will also pass the parameter model, which will indicate which specific model we want to use. So you know there are different models like GPT-2, GPT-3, GPT-4. Now recently GPT-5 has been developed. So this specifies which AI model we want to choose. For this class, GPT-4o is going to be sufficient for the title and the slide generation. Then I'm going to define the parameter max tokens, and the max tokens is going to say what is the maximum size of text that I want the AI tool to generate. Do I want text up to 1000 lines, or do I want text up to 100 lines? So I'm going to set this one to 500, and finally we're going to set the temperature parameter, which will actually specify how creative the response is going to be. The lower temperature we have, the more deterministic and specific the output is, while higher temperature means that the AI is going to be a little more creative with the response. Normally the temperature value is between 0 and 2. The closer it is to 2, the more creative the AI is, and the closer to 0 is going to give us more exact answers, but less creative ones. Less creative means that if we ask the same thing multiple times ChatGPT, it might give us exactly the same answer. So those are the parameters that we're going to send. And then we need to make the connection with the OpenAI. And you can do this by using the OpenAI class. So normally to use this, you will need to have an API key, which I'm going to show you how to use later on. API key will give you access to the OpenAI API models. But for now, I'm not going to add it yet because we are not ready yet to use the artificial intelligence agent. So I will comment this line out and we'll come back later on once we create our presentation. So for now, I'm going to make this function to return some random text. So I write return PowerPoint presentation text. Okay, later on we're going to actually implement the AI model right here, and this text that is going to be returned by this function will be either a title or the bullet points that we need for our presentation. Okay, so let's do a quick test just to make sure that our function is working. So here if I write open AI chat, okay, and I write hi, and I will enclose this in a print. So if I do that, we should see the text PowerPoint presentation text. Okay, so that's the idea, to see this text for now. Okay, now once we have the AI function, the next thing we need to create is the function that will generate the slides. And this is step 4. You can see here we define the slide generation function. This function is going to create PowerPoint slide based on the input text. So the idea is that this function calls the OpenAI chat to generate firstly a title, bullet points, an image, and finally a unique slide design. So you can create the function by typing def generate slide. Okay, and here I'm going to pass two variables, PRS, which is going to be our presentation object. I will show you how to create this later on, and then the text. Okay, so this is going to be the text based on which we're going to create a slide. For example, if I send this function a paragraph about the city New York, I would expect to get a slide with the title New York, then to see some bullet points related to New York, and after that to see an image related to New York as well. So the first thing, as you can see in the description, is to generate the title. And here is how we're going to do that. So the title will be equal to OpenAI chat, and then we're going to tell ChatGPT, create concise slide title up to 5 words. Don't add quotes or anything else in the title, should be based on the text, and then we're going to pass the text here. Okay, so let's make this a little bit more visual so you can understand it. So this would be the same if I would go to ChatGPT, write this, then find some text, for example, for New York, okay, and pass it just under it. So this would be exactly the same, we just do it with Python. So you can see that if I send this text, I will get just a title, New York City overview. So this is what I would expect to be assigned to title. Later on, we're going to use that for our slide title. Okay, the next thing I want to do is to generate the bullet points. And I will use similar approach. So bullets will be equal to OpenAI chat, and I will say, I want 6 bullets based on this text, which will be the same text about New York. Write exactly 6 bullet points up to each under 6 words. I want dash before each bullet point, and I want them written in plain text, nothing else, no styling. And then I also gave here an example format. So /n means a new line. So I would like bullet 1, bullet 2, bullet 3, bullet 4, bullet 5, bullet 6. Okay, and then I would like this to be in a string, and also I will set the max tokens parameter to 500, which means that I want all the bullets together to be up to 500 tokens. 500 tokens are about 300 words, something like this. Okay, so now we have the title and the bullets. So once we have those components, the next thing I want to do is to create the actual slide. So in Python, you can do that by using the python-pptx library. So the presentation object that I pass here is going to be of type presentation. As you can see, we import this library here. Okay, and I write prs.slides add slide, and this will simply choose one of the slide layouts that are predefined in the PowerPoint library. Next, I'm going to do slide.background.fill solid, and also I will change the color to the background to light blue. So our slide will be light blue. Then I'm going to add the title of the slide and the bullets inside the slide. So here's how we can do that. Now, first of all, we're going to create a new object called title shape, okay, which will be equal to slide.shapes.title, and then we're going to write title shape.text is going to be equal to the title that our AI engine just created. Okay. After that, I'm going to add some styling on it, so I will move it 0.5 inches from the top, 0 inches from the left. It will have width of 20 inches and height of 1 inch. And then here I'm going to design the title. So the size of the title will be 70 points, and also it's going to be bold. Once we have the title added, the next thing that we're going to add are the bullet points. So firstly, I'm going to create here a new text box. So I will do slide.shapes.add text box. I'm going to paste it on the right location, which is going to be middle left on our slide. I'm going to create here a text frame. I will say that I don't want to wrap the words from the bullet points, since they are already 6 words each, so I don't expect that those lines are going to be too long. Once we do that, we're going to write every bullet on a new line with this size, with this space before, and with this space after. Okay, so as you can see, we already created a slide, added a title to the slide, and also added the bullets to that slide. So that will be for now. Later on, of course, here I'm going to add the image generation as well. Before that, I want to show you the final result, and I want to actually create the presentation so you can see how it looks like for now. Now, as you can see in the step 5, we are going to define the presentation creation function, which means that here I'll create the presentation object that we are going to pass to generate slide function, and then also create our first presentation. So let's write def create presentation, okay, and here I'll pass text and file name. File name will be the name of our new presentation, so I will name it present1.pptx, okay, and then I'll write PRS equals to presentation. So this is our presentation object, and then I want to define what is going to be the size of each slide. That's very easy. So if I write PRS dot slide width will be equal to PT 920, okay, and then PRS dot slide height is going to be equal to PT 1080. Okay, so remember that the text that we're going to pass is going to be broken down into paragraphs. So what I want is to create a different slide, a new slide for each separate paragraph. So let's say if I pass 3 paragraphs about New York, I want 3 slides that are going to cover each individual paragraph. Okay, so let's see how we can actually implement that. So let's assume our text is of different paragraphs. Every paragraph is separated from the other one with an empty space, so we can use that to distinguish between them. So let's do for paragraph in filter map stripped text. So here what we're simply doing is we're splitting the text where we have new line, and this filter function is going to output a list. So we're going to have a list of the different paragraphs. So we're going to have something like this. So paragraphs, and here we're going to have paragraph 1, paragraph 2, etc. Okay, so that's the idea. And once we have these paragraphs, we're going to take each individual paragraph. So we're going to take the text for paragraph 1, and we're going to create a slide for it. And we already created a function that can do that. So I write generate slide, which we created right here. Then I'm going to pass the presentation object, and also I'm going to pass the paragraph. Okay, so you can see that for now this function is underlined because we didn't actually run this code here yet. So if I run it, you can see that it completed fine. We got the green mark here. And if I go later here and I run this, you can see that this function also works. Once we have that, we want to save the presentation. So once we have slides created for every paragraph, the next thing we want is to save the presentation. So I write prs.save, and then here I will simply pass the file name, which will be present1.pptx. Okay, and now let's actually add some print statements so we can actually show to the user that presentation has been created after this point. And finally, we're going to return the file name. So this is what the create presentation function is going to return. Okay, so let's move to step 6. And here we're going to actually test our function. So I write here create presentation with this input text. So imagine that those are 3 paragraphs, right? So first one is about artificial intelligence, then we talk about AI tools, and so on. And once we have this text, we can pass it to the create presentation function, which should break it to 3 different paragraphs and hopefully create 3 slides if everything works correctly. So I run this, and as you can see, within a second, a presentation was created. Now in Google Colab, you can actually download wherever files your code generated using the files function. So if you write Google Colab.files and do files.download and the name of what you want to download, then you can have automatically your file on your device. Since I named the presentation here a little bit differently, I called it present1, I will actually use this name here. So let's click that, okay? And as you can see, the presentation that we created is now downloaded. So if I show it, here is what you're going to see. So for now, successfully, our application generated 3 slides, but you can see that those slides don't have yet images. Also, we just have the plain text that we wrote as a placeholder. This means that we're not yet using our AI tools. But now, good job for now. If you have this presentation created already, this means that your code works fine. Now in the next section, we're going to implement the AI tools, and you will see how by magic the exact titles and bullet points are going to be generated for you. Alright everyone, so far we were able to create our presentation, and now let's link the AI into our app and bring some life to our presentation. So to do that, here I'll go back to step 3 and I'll actually implement our OpenAI API function. Firstly, I'll comment out this line here, okay, and after that I will paste this code and I'll remove this placeholder here. So what is happening in this code? First of all, we use the client in order to link our application with OpenAI API. I will show you later in this video how to obtain this API key. It's really simple. This is the line with which we communicate with the OpenAI API. So we are writing, so the response is equal to client.chat.completions.create. We're going to pass the model GPT-4o mini, and here we're going to send a message, right? So from the behalf of the user, we're going to send the content that the user passes here. For example, a content that the user can pass is based on this specific text. Can you generate me a slide title? Okay, that will be all written into the prompt. Here we're going to pass the max tokens and the temperature. Pretty straightforward. Now let's see how we can obtain the API key. To do that, you need to go to platform.openai.com, and from there just click login and create or login with your account. Once you have an account, click on dashboard, API keys, and here you can create a new secret key. and this is the key that you're going to be able to pass to the application in order to link it with the OpenAI API. Make sure that you copy and you store your key somewhere, because once you create it, you will be able to see it only once. And I'll give you an example. If I click here, create new secret key, and I write key 123, and I click create, I can copy the key, but you can see that once I click done, this key is no longer visible for me. So let's actually paste this key into our application. Okay, as you can see, it's right here. And now our agent will be able to work properly. So now let's test it. If I click the play button, it will take a couple of seconds. And you can see that when I tell ChatGPT hi, I get a response, hello, how can I assist you today? So this means that our AI agent works completely fine. Now, if you noticed, in step 4, we're actually calling the OpenAI chat to create a title and the bullets. And we already discussed that we're doing that by passing some specific prompts, asking ChatGPT to create those, and also passing the paragraph for which we want to create the title and the bullets. So this means that now, once we run all the functions, we should be able to generate a new presentation with all of those bullets and titles created. So I will click this button, run all, and I will just let the magic happen. Okay, so as you can see, all the lines run properly. Now we're just waiting for step 6 to complete. And once that's done, the presentation was automatically downloaded. So now I will click on it, and now you can see that we have the title and all the bullet points generated exactly how we wanted. And just to prove you that this will be different for any type of text, I will actually copy the 3 paragraphs about New York. So I will just paste them right here. Okay, and as you can see, they're way longer than the text we already had. So let's run all that for those paragraphs. And now you can see that a completely new presentation was downloaded. And I will even show it to you so you see that we're actually getting text in our slides about New York. Okay, which means that everything worked fine. Now, once we have those prompts created properly, the next step is going to be to generate the image that will be presented into our presentation. Alright guys, so now we have one final step before completing our project for this course, and this is to add images, AI generated images, into our presentation. To do that, we're going to use 2 AI tools, which is the OpenAI chat, and the other one is going to be the image generation tool. So in order to generate an image, you normally need to pass a prompt that says, let's say, a panda riding bicycle. You cannot say, generate me an image of a panda that is riding a bicycle. You're not gonna get the best results, specifically from this image generation tool called DALL-E. So I will need to convert my question into prompt that DALL-E is going to understand to generate an image. So I cannot just pass the whole text for New York and expect appropriate results. So I will need to convert the text using ChatGPT. So let's see how we're going to do this. So here, as you can see, I'm creating a new variable called DALL-E prompt, and I will run our OpenAI chat function, and I will say summarize for DALL-E image, and then I will pass the whole paragraph for our slide. I will use the model GPT-4. I will pass max tokens of 250 and temperature of 0.8. Okay, so this here should generate the exact text that the image generation tool likes. Next, I'm going to write response equals to client.images.generate. We're going to use the DALL-E 2 model, and the prompt that we're going to pass is going to be the DALL-E prompt, and I'm also going to specify that I want the image to look like a logo. Here I also specify the quality of the image and the size, and for this presentation we need quite a small image, so I'm okay with 256 by 256. As you can see here, the client is underlined, and this is because I added the client into that function, which is of course not the best option, and I will fix this by removing it and actually pass it just under our imports right here. Okay, that will make sure that the client object is accessible throughout the whole code, not just within this function. Okay, so if I run this, you can see that the error here disappeared. Okay, so here we're expecting to get a response, and the image URL will be equal to response.data position0.url. So here we will be able to access the URL for the image we need. So let's give that a try before running it within our presentation. So I will actually comment out all of those. Okay, and I will actually call this function just to make sure that the slide is generated. So I write generate slide. Okay, this will be equal to a, it doesn't matter, we're not using the presentation object since we commented out everything else. And then for text, I will just paste one of the paragraphs for New York. So I will put that here, and then here I will write print, actually image URL. Okay, so let's run this and see what happens. It will take a little bit of time because we need to get our text processed, and you can see that here we received a link. So let's click on this link and see what happens. And as you can see now, we got an icon for our presentation that should be related to the text. Actually, this looks like a map of New York, which means that we successfully created image that we're able to display in our presentations. So DALL-E worked. Okay, so I will now just go back so we can have all of this code on comment. Okay, and once we have the URL, we need to do actually an additional step in order to have our image displayed into the presentation. So we got the image URL, but what we also need to do is to deserialize this image, which means we need to put the image in bytes and then send it to our presentation. We can do this just by 2 lines of code. So here, from the link of the image, we can convert the image in bytes using the bytes IO function. And once we have the image in bytes, we're going to write slide, shapes, add picture, the image bytes, and then the position of the image. This position indicates that the image will be shown on the right middle side of the slide. Alright, so that should be everything you need to generate the presentation. Now I will run the code from the beginning. So I'll click run all, and hopefully what we should get is a fully functional and complete presentation. So as you can see, the presentation is now downloaded to our device. Please give it about 30 seconds depending on your internet connection or the state of the OpenAI API, and then the presentation is going to be generated. Now if I click on it, you can see that our slides are ready. So we have all the bullet points, we have an image generated related to New York, and also the correct title. And as you can see, all the images and bullet points are really straight to the point and are related to the text that we just passed, which was text about New York. So that's everything from this course, guys. I hope you really enjoyed it and you learned new skills. As you can see, you can build really amazing things using Python and the available AI models. And to strengthen your skills, please make sure that you complete the course project, which is the last part of this course. Thanks for watching, and I will catch you in the next one. Alright guys, congratulations for completing the course. Now you're able to build any AI application completely by yourself because you know how to use the OpenAI APIs. You can generate text, images, and most importantly, you can integrate this with any other Python package. So now, in order for you to exercise your skills, I prepared for you this class project that composes of 3 specific tasks. I strongly advise you to complete this project because that will solidify the skills that you just gained. So in this video, I will quickly go over the project, and also the description that you'll be able to see in this video is going to be part of the notebook, and you will be able to see it right in the end after you complete the rest of the tasks for the course. So let's jump straight into it. So as you can see here, we're having our Jupyter notebook, and you can also see the project that we just completed. So if you go down to step 9, you will see the student project, and the student project composes of 3 specific tasks. All of those tasks are going to be focused on you improving the project. The first 2 tasks are related with improving the AI generated text content. So task 1 will improve the slide title generation. So you need to find a way to modify the OpenAI chat in the generate slide function that we just created up here. So here is our generate slide function, and this is the prompt that you need to find a way to improve in order to get better titles. You also discover that by improving the prompts, you can focus on a specific tone when your AI text is generated. And this is exactly what you're going to do in exercise 2, where I will ask you to improve the prompt that is generating the bullet points for our presentations. For example, you could instruct the AI to prioritize action-oriented words or focus on specific themes like benefits, challenges, and so on. So you can have your agenda based on which the bullet points are going to be generated. And to implement this agenda, of course, you will need to find ways to improve this prompt here, which is the actual question that we sent to the AI. And as a final task, you will need to find ways to actually improve your DALL-E image prompts. So if you remember, DALL-E is the actual tool that generates the images. So my idea is here for you to play with the DALL-E code. So the specific task here is to ask the AI to not only generate an image, but generate an image of a specific style. DALL-E is very good in styling, so you can ask to generate an image like a cartoon, or even in a way that some famous artist would draw it. You can also play with the size of the image. As you can see, if I go up here, you see that the size of the image is 256 by 256, which is quite a small image with lower quality, but you can increase the size and to see how the quality is going to improve. So the whole idea of the project for this course is for you to really play with the AI part of this project and solidify your skills. So I hope all the tasks that you need to do are clear. I hope you enjoy this project and of course the course as a whole, and you really learned a lot of things that will give you benefits in your coding or AI experience. That's it. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the rest of our courses.